If somebody has had, a maize scandal here, a land scandal there, and you say, atakuwa tu sawa. You guys, kwani sisi huona vitu namna gani? So don't hire thieves. They'll steal. Now, how come when it comes to leadership and governance, we begin to behave like that is an exception? Guys, ni kama tunaishi dunia mbili tofauti. You guys, wake up. And I'm not going to, this is not something I beg anybody to agree with me or not. That is how it is. Ruto actually never cancelled the Adani deal. Ruto was caught with a hot potato in the mouth. And he had to try and spit it out and then figure out how to get it back into the mouth. So the situation is such that the Adani deals were almost done. Actually, now the revelations indicate how much was done. And I really thank X Spaces and so on for people like Nelson Amenya. Let's give credit where it is due. That man did us proud. I'm so proud of him. But we also need to support him. I think we have not honored Nelson Amenya the way we need to. Na Wakenya tujifunze kupeana credit. Let's learn to realize the price, the cost of doing some things. That man's life has been in danger. So we need to actually appreciate people for who they are. So the point I'm making is all these deals were done and sealed pretty much. And that's why they were, tapa-taparing when called to account in parliament and so on. So they go today, yes, it's good, yeah, but they can't answer the questions. That's why Raila would come up and say, iko sawa tu. Because you cannot relate the usawa to the impact. So it's the US that has brought this thing out. And so that you sort of look politically correct, you say, I'm canceling it. But then watch the remarks. Jesus put it very well. You say you will know a tree by its fruit. So don't always rush to the proclamations. You look at the fruit that comes out of the life of someone. And that's why I like to insist that if we go to an election next, I beg you, and I beg again, look at the character of the person before you elect them. Because no miracle will happen to transform a thief into a saint. They can say all the right words, but if they've been caught in a scandal, they have insulted you, you'll be utakuwa mjinga kuimagine kwamba you can marry such a person and everything will be okay. So let's look at the character of the people. I see people all over the X telling me that it is cheap to talk about values as a requirement for leadership in Kenya. Kigame mambo ya character, it can never decide leadership. All you need is experience. So I ask you again, these experiences we've had over the years, zimetusaidia aje? It's because of that kind of thinking that values don't matter that we continue to have a problem. And I will insist that is probably the most important thing to look at. You will thank me later. But look at the character. In 2013, we should never have elected William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta into office. Why? Because we knew they were indicted. Didn't we know? We knew. If somebody has had, a maize scandal here, a land scandal there, and you say, atakuwa tu sawa. You guys, kwani sisi huona vitu namna gani? So, if you hear Kigame wants to run for office to be your next president, check Kigame's record. You are tired of lies. Has Kigame been lying to you? If I've been lying to you, please don't get me in. If I've stolen somebody's thing, I'm going to steal from you. It's as easy as that. Now, that is how we live in our families. That is how we live in church. That is how we live in our businesses. We don't hire thieves, they'll steal. Now, how come when it comes to leadership and governance, we begin to behave like that is an exception? Guys, ni kama tunaishi dunia mbili tofauti. You guys, wake up. And I'm not going to, this is not something I beg anybody to agree with me or not. That is how it is. So look at character and don't be cheated. If you know somebody has been swindling or lying to you, or somebody has been doing funny things, the way they treat you, that is how they'll treat you in government. Joho anasema, if you exercise power or the constitutional given power, as in Article 1, the power is with the citizens, and you speak against government in terms of rogue policies and so on, and you use social media to influence the way people think or view things, then that is a spirit, according to him. Kwamba umepagawa na pepo ya kupinga kila kitu. And that is also the way Ruto sees the way young people are using media and so on. And so when somebody talks like that, they are basically pitting your use of the internet or your exercise of power against their own exercise of power. So it means that now it's what you call a contestation between two spirits: the power of the people versus the power of the state. Now, when those two powers of the state meet, of course, there's going to be a clash. That is why Joho could issue something like a threat. We will come for you. Because now they're saying, we don't like what you're doing with internet. We don't like what you're doing with media. And because we don't like it, we will stop you. You know? So it is we versus them. The power of the people versus the power of the state machinery. And wherever there is a contestation like that, you've got to understand what is at stake. So if you were to look closely at the Pepo thing, or the Joho Pepo versus the so-called people Pepo. Okay, let me the Joho power, the Ruto power versus the people power. There are two different exercises of power. Because once the president is given the sword and or the powers to be in office, they vow, they swear using Bible, Constitution, the sword, all those instruments of power, and make promises. This is what we are going to be doing for the people. But you understand now that what they say or vow versus what they do are two different things. Because you've got to ask why people get into office. So they'll tell you, I'm getting into office because I want to serve you. I want to lead you in accordance with the Constitution. I will do everything. So help me God. They make that public declaration. But actually looking closer, you realize that that is not really what they want to do. Getting into office is a means to an end. The end is not service. The end is not making you wealthier, more comfortable. It's not about giving you jobs. All these manifestos and things they tell you during the campaign journey are like peremende. kukunyamazisha, they're like vitumbua, so they coax you into believing, but they really don't want to serve you. So what you need to understand is that the conflicts between the two kinds of people work this way. The real motive is to get wealthy. The real motive is to loot. The real motive is to compete against the Kenyatas and the Mois and the first Kenyatta. So you want to compete so that the way they looted, you can loot like them or outdo them. It's a very egotistic thing.